Hey, fellow babies, welcome to Pachter Factor Live on SIFTD.net. I'm Michael Pachter, your host, and we're talking about real topics in real time. So if you are a Patreon patron or a YouTube subscriber, you're getting this in real time, and we very, very much appreciate the support. Whether you are doing either of those things or not, you are able to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. There are instructions on how to do that in the show description below, so check out the show description. You have to re-up that every month, but that costs absolutely nothing to you. You're paying Amazon $139 a year, and Amazon's paying Shane $2.50 a month if you just remember to relink those. Let's get on to today's topic. Xbox reversed course on its $80 games. It had already announced Outer Worlds 2 would be $80 6 weeks ago. Now it looks like it's going to be $70. What happened? Why did they do that? What game, if any, will be Xbox's first $80 game? The company also isn't selling or renting movies or TV shows, and that was a big deal on Xbox One. What happened? People who have video libraries, what happened? People are upset. Are people getting pissed at Microsoft and abandoning them? Is Microsoft becoming consumer unfriendly and turning its back on easy money? So let's talk about $80 first. I think $80 is a very tough resistance point for consumers. I am not on the side of the man. I am on the side of capitalism, and I do think people should pay for value. So GTA has value. Question is, does Outer Worlds 2 have value? Probably not. It's probably worth $70. And to charge a premium just because it's time to raise price, I think that was how Microsoft was thinking. That, hey, Nintendo did it, Super Mario Kart World, we're going to do it with all our games, and they announced Outer Worlds. Now, you may have noticed that in between the announcement of Super Mario Kart World and the Outer Worlds 2, we got Borderlands announced at $80, but not really. Randy Pitchford implied it would be worth $80 and said work at Burger King for 2 more hours, or Dairy Queen, or whatever he said. And in fact, that game came out at $70, or got announced at $70. So I think what happened is everybody got emboldened by Super Mario Kart World at $80, decided they were going to charge $80, hoped they would have cover from GTA, which was originally planned to come out this fall, at $100, and they just slipped by and charge $80. And then Borderlands chickened out, and Randy was definitely talking $80 because he was saying work an extra couple hours. They chickened out and went at $70. I think Microsoft announced $80, got a little pushback on Outer Worlds, and chickened out and dropped to $70. So I guess the answer is the number is $70 for a while. And what's going to happen is GTA is going to come out. They're going to test 100. I am absolutely convinced of that. And let's see what the feedback is there. Nintendo has done Mario Kart World at $80. Donkey Kong Bonanza, I believe, is $70. So they didn't do it with every title. Nintendo's got this story they're telling that, certain content is just worth that premium. And Mario Kart World is the one they did it on, and Donkey Kong they didn't. So I think that Nintendo's lack of consistency across all titles, consistency in terms of what they consider to be premium, is enough to spook the other guys. So Outer Worlds, not really that premium. I actually think Borderlands is pretty premium, and I think Pittsburgh probably could have gotten away with it, but Take-Two chickened out. So I think Take-Two is going to test the waters with GTA. I think Microsoft will probably do a big game like Gears of War at $80. I don't know that they'll do Forza.
This episode of Pachter Factor is brought to you by DeShazer Ryan Realty. It's time to find out why everyone is buying homes in Montana. Right now, Doug DeShazer has a beautiful single-level home with a triple-car garage available in the best neighborhood in Libby, Montana. This custom 3-bed, 2.5-bath home has a 500-square-foot patio for entertaining. It's built to last with solid wood core doors, Anderson windows, an asphalt driveway, central AC and heat, and a private well to run its sprinkler system. The price was recently reduced, and owner financing is available with 20% down. No matter where you're looking to buy in the US, Doug DeShazer is licensed to help. Make him your real estate consultant at 406-291-1643. That's Doug DeShazer at 406-291-1643, or go to LibbyMontanaRealEstate.com.
I don't know if Call of Duty pricing has been announced yet, but that's the one that they probably could try, but they're already suffering so badly because of Game Pass and putting that day and date that I'm not sure what's going to happen with Call of Duty. And might actually charging 80 for them might actually drive more people to Game Pass, which might be part of their theory. Interesting to see. Again, I think 80 is just one of those things that you get a visceral reaction from consumers that they just hate it without thinking it through. I think for a GTA, you can afford to do it, but recurring franchise, Outer Worlds isn't exactly recurring, but Madden, FIFA, that's going to be hard. I think that it's going to take a while for those guys to rise to 80. So I expect it to happen after GTA, not before. I think you'll get people testing. I think Microsoft tested and got negative feedback and pulled back. And so it shows that the right word is chickened out. They should chicken out. If consumers aren't ready to pay it, don't charge it. And Microsoft's in a particularly bad position because of Game Pass, because you can join Game Pass and get the game for free, which means you may or may not buy the title, and 80 makes it harder to buy the title and more likely to join Game Pass. So they want you to join Game Pass, but nobody's joining Game Pass. So they're kind of boxing themselves, where if they price wrong, they might freeze you from either buying an Xbox or their game, or from joining Game Pass, and then you do nothing and keep your money. I think that's really what they're seeing with Outer Worlds, and I think that's really why they chickened out. I would say it's probably more social media feedback than anything. It's hard to say that there's data because it's not like the game's listed at $80 for 6 months and they have this perfect predictor of pre-orders for games a year before they come out like that. No, they don't. And to be honest with you, pre-orders are really a completely unreliable metric of how well a game's going to do. You'd be an idiot to pre-order a game unless you got an incentive, because it's not like you're not going to be able to get a digital copy the day the game comes out. Pre-orders used to be a thing when you got physical copies and you didn't want to go stand in line, and that's what people used to do. And so yeah, you'd pre-order it so you didn't have to go down to the store at midnight, and you'd pre-order it so it arrived in the mail. They used to arrive in the mail like on Wednesday. You'd actually get them a day or two early. So people did it, but to be honest with you, with downloads now, you can just hit pre-order on as a downloader, buy it the day of, and it'll show up at midnight. It'll be downloaded to your console or PC and ready to play the instant it comes out. So there's just no reason to pre-order anymore. So I don't think that's the data. I think it's got to be social media, and I don't really know what they look at in social media. I mean, it's possible they looked at the bloggers. It's possible they looked at the influencer sites. It's possible they looked at the mainstream game media sites. It's possible they looked at Reddit. But my guess is pretty much everything I've seen about 80, everybody hates it. So I don't think you're ever going to get positive feedback. And I can say, of all the companies in the world who don't care what you think, Nintendo and Rockstar are 1 and 2, maybe 2 and 1. They don't care. They're going to do what they think is right. And Mario Kart sold pretty well. Donkey Kong's selling great. The other big ulterior motive Microsoft has is they're not making money on Xbox games that are made for Xbox. They are making a boatload on Xbox games that are selling on PS5. So the third-party business, their business of not being first-party exclusive any longer, that's a way to stick it to the PlayStation crowd. And they're already pretty well convinced that very few PlayStation owners are going to sign up for Game Pass. But they're kind of their sneaky way to insinuate themselves into the good graces of PlayStation owners is sell them games like Forza, sell them games like Outer Worlds, and then get them to realize the value of the Xbox library, and then ultimately convert over to Game Pass. And I think that they would love to stick it to PlayStation owners because they just don't expect them to join Game Pass right away and charge them 80 where they can. But I think, again, they probably tested this with just focus group test is the easiest way to do it, and see how audience reacted. And Outer Worlds just isn't premium enough for people. So I do think that, where they sell units is going to be PlayStation for sure. 5 of the best selling games, of the top 10 games on PlayStation, are Xbox or are Microsoft Studios games. So yes, absolutely an opportunity to monetize there. We know that Microsoft is laying people off, that they are putting pressure on the Xbox division to be more profitable. So clearly, anything they can do to make more money is great for them, and anything they can do to stick it to the PlayStation crowd is great for them, and they're going to do it. Their long-term view is Game Pass is the way to go. I think that a lower price point on PS5 wins over customers who will try your games and who, once they realize your games are good, may want to join Game Pass. And you can be a PS5 owner and join Game Pass. I mean, of course. Let me move on to the other topic because we're running out of time. Movies on Xbox. And I don't know that there are that many people who buy films anymore. I mean, I get if you're a parent and you want to buy a kid's film, you can buy it and the kid can watch it 100 times, 1,000 times. So it's worth paying 10 or $15 to own a movie. Most of us just watch a movie on a rental. It seems like Microsoft's going to honor anything you purchase in your library is going to be accessible, but they have to make that easy. So they have to make this literally log into your Xbox account on your new device and there's all your movies. I expect that they will. I don't think movie sales is all that smart because not that many people buy movies. We used to see literally about $10 billion of DVD sales in the US a year. And if you kind of do the math, figuring that the average was $10, a billion DVDs, that dropped to under 200 million about 10 years ago and has gone down since, obviously, because we don't buy DVDs. Digital sales are just not that big. I literally would say digital purchases are probably 100 million, 200 million units per year, and Xbox was probably doing 5 million. It's just a tiny number. So, Microsoft, I think, should be renting, and I think probably more important is they've got to figure out their Game Pass strategy, because it's important for them to get Game Pass on a television without an Xbox and without a PC. And the perfect thing to offer to Game Pass members is to rent any movie. I can do that on Amazon Prime right now. I can't do it on Netflix. Why? Because Netflix never thought about it. Really smart if you put all your movies in one place, and Amazon has done that. Microsoft should do the same thing. Now on ownership, I totally get it. If you buy a DVD or you buy a pay-per-view movie, but you purchase it, you should be able to watch it forever. Realistically, as I said, you're not going to watch a movie 100 times unless you have little kids. And right now, Disney has that dominated because they have all the Disney films and all the Pixar films. But again, Microsoft should allow pay-per-view, because I think what Microsoft needs to do is establish Game Pass as a platform for entertainment. You should get to play, not only Call of Duty and Gears of War and Forza on there, you should play Candy Crush on there. You should play League of Legends on there. They should put everything on there. And anything that's free to play, then do a rev share with the sponsor. But it requires a lot of old guys set in their ways to look at the world differently. And so what you're seeing right now is growing pains as the old guard, and believe me, the Microsoft management team is old guard. Everybody's getting old and they don't have new, fresh ideas. So maybe they'll watch Pachter Factor, get some fresh ideas, turn the Xbox Game Pass subscription into a platform. Think about it as a platform rather than a subscription. Think about the opportunity to leverage the platform with all the content they have. I actually think they can do all that stuff. And then invite other content onto the platform. Amazon did that with Prime Video. I can rent a movie from any studio. Amazon doesn't need a special deal. I think of Amazon as my destination to rent movies. I should think of Game Pass as my destination to rent movies. Those of you who are Patreon patrons or YouTube subscribers, thank you. You're keeping us afloat. Shane is actually looking very healthy, and he's trying to be gluten-free, so he's got to buy the fancier macaroni and cheese. So please keep subscribing as a Patreon patron or YouTube subscriber. If you are doing those things or not, please remember to link your Amazon Prime account to your Twitch Prime account. There are instructions in the show description below. You have to redo that each month. So if you haven't done it in a month, please check out the show description. Click through. It's a couple of clicks and you've linked your account. It is free for you. You've already paid for it. Amazon pays Shane. You pay nothing, so stick it to Amazon, get that payment for free. My fellow babies, thank you for joining on Pachter Factor Live. We will see you next week.